Point is, look, there comes a day I got shoved out too. Never saw it coming. Did not see that coming, and I fought it like hell. But in the end, bupkis. Yep.
For 5 seasons, almost everyone who stood in front of Homelander did the same thing. They either feared him, worshipped him, or tried to manipulate him. And most of them are dead. But there's one scene in season 5 where an old man does something nobody in this entire show has ever done, and he walks out alive.
I mean, you're a fucking whack job. But, you know, that's talent. So, no surprise there.
Homelander comes here to get the information he can and kill the legend. He already killed the guy in the theater, and at this point, he's in a state where he'll do anything to get what he wants. The man declared himself a god, and he walks in here expecting the same thing he always gets: fear, worship, and begging. And at first, the legend plays it by the rules. Right from the start with Homelander, he starts to suck up to him, says he's on his team, says he didn't really like Butcher, just doing what everyone else does, trying to survive. But when Homelander sits down and starts talking to air, the legend realizes something. He is not leaving this room alive to tell.
Please, don't leave me here to just rot. Don't just let me become nothing like him.
This is what he sees when he looks to him. Nothing. That's the same word A-Train said to him right before he died. But Homelander never understood what A-Train meant. His whole life, everyone made him feel like he is something only if he's the most powerful. A-Train, who grew up with a family, eventually understood what it means to be something without power. Homelander never got that chance. But when the legend accepts his fate, he does something no one else in Homelander's life has ever done. He talks to him like a human, like a father figure.
All right, look, kid. I've been around a long time, and this is just how it goes. You know, all those old soups at the home, every one of them had their moments in the sun, and they all thought it was going to go on forever. And every one of them got shoved out in the end. They all got shoved out. All of them. And I know what I'm talking about.
He stands next to the most powerful man on the planet and calls him a kid. Because when there's nothing left on the line, honesty becomes the only option. And in that moment, he sees him for what he truly is: a kid afraid to lose. Even the room feels perfect for this. Children's drawings on the walls, a bunk bed, a ping pong table, and someone there talking to him with care. It's almost everything Homelander wanted as a child, like the fake perfect home he used in his commercials. And the legend, like a father, talks about his experiences, how he thinks the world works, not to preach, not to manipulate. And Homelander listens. Look at Homelander's face. He's almost like, why is he telling me all this? The legend talks about how everything and everyone comes to an end. And Homelander, who thinks himself a god, doesn't rage, he just listens. And the reason is how the legend says everything with genuine concern, unlike anyone Homelander has ever come across. Stillwell spent years playing the loving mother just to make him obey the company. Stan Edgar told him to his face that he's just a product. Stormfront used him to push her ideology. Even his own loyal fans, they don't see him as a person. They see him as a savior, a symbol. Nobody looks at Homelander and sees a man. They see what he can do for them. And Firecracker was no different. She gave up her own religion just for power. And when he tried to send her away, she stayed, kept talking, kept performing, tried to use his need for love to save herself. And he killed her for it. Because Homelander is not stupid. Actually, far from it. His whole life, everyone did the same thing to him. They tried to use his need for love to gain something for themselves. For Firecracker, it was power and status. But Homelander sees right through her, just like he sees through everyone around him. Remember the scene when the makeup girl comes close to Homelander after the video leaked of him letting a plane full of people die? She was scared of him, and Homelander knew it, like he knew Firecracker was lying. But this time, it is different. When the legend starts talking to him, he starts to feel seen. And this is something he doesn't expect. Homelander was raised in a lab like a rat, psychologically programmed and tortured in the name of science. Frank, the guy who shoots a paper ball into a can while Homelander is burning, saw him as just a tool. And the worst part, his need for love isn't even real.
Your need for approval and for love? What brought in the best psychologists in the world? You developed the protocol to carefully engineer that need so that you would be obedient. In many ways, that was our greatest success.
They made him crave love and approval so deeply that he would never be able to shake it. That was their leash, the most powerful being on the planet, controlled by a need they put inside him on purpose. So every piece of love, every bit of concern he ever received wasn't there because someone cared about him. It was there to control him. That's why when the legend taps his shoulder, he is shocked. Probably the first time in his adult life someone has touched him like that. And, if you notice, it's the same shoulder Soldier Boy grabbed when he called Homelander a disappointment. Same spot. One man used it to reject him. The other used it to accept him.
You're not scared of me. No, I'm not scared of you. I feel for you, kid. I do. I mean, you're a fucking whack job. But, you know, that's talent. So, no surprise there.
Look at his face. I'm not going to repeat what we already know about Anthony Starr being a great actor, but this split-second smile tells a very big story. The story of someone cruel, psychotic, a nutjob, but also a hurt kid. For a split second, he feels seen. And when you see it, you feel something you don't want to feel. You feel sorry for him, and that makes you uncomfortable, because you remember everything he's done. The plane, the people he killed, all of it. This is a bad person. You know that. But then you look at that face and you start asking questions you don't have answers to. What if someone had raised him differently? What if someone had talked to him like the legend just did 20 years ago? Would he still be the same person? And if everything he became is the result of how the world treated him, how much of it is really his fault? He knew his actions caused pain. He saw the fear in people's eyes, and he kept going. So you can't forgive him, but you can't fully hate him either, not after that smile. And then he lets him go. Just like that. And when Homelander says go, the legend doesn't say thank you, doesn't say goodbye. He's out the door before Homelander can change his mind. He walked out of there alive because he was genuine. That's it. And in a show where everyone lies, everyone performs, everyone has an angle, watching honesty actually save someone's life gives you something The Boys has never given you before. Hope. And that's what surprises you about this scene. When a character dies, you expect to feel something. The show built up to that, but you don't expect to feel this in a conversation between two men in a room. You don't expect a superhero show to make you sit with a question that doesn't have an answer. Is Homelander a monster because he chose to be, or because no one ever gave him a choice? That's nature versus nurture playing out in 5 minutes of dialogue. And here's the tragic part. Everything the legend told him. He sat there and listened, and by the end of the same episode, makes himself immortal. The ultimate fight against the natural order. Even Kripke confirmed it. Homelander does exactly the opposite of that advice. The legend gave him the answer, and he walked straight past it. If you made it this far, thank you. Every comment and every like means more than you think. I'll see you in the next one.